increase the capacity. They are trying to build their capacity. So the probability now just see this house is there. It is built on a slope. है ना? Whenever a landslide is there or any flood is there, what will happen? This house is it is at a very risky juncture. That there is high probability that this house may be washed away with the flood or any landslide. So this is known as the probability of, it is known as risk. The probability that a community, structure or geographic area is to be damaged or disrupted by the impact of particular disaster on account of their nature, how they are constructed, and proximity to hazardous area is known as risk. So you just see disaster risk. How can it be defined? Hazard. If hazard is more, disaster will be more. If vulnerability is more, disaster will be more. If capacity is more, capacity is built and disaster will be less. Now if you see in the numerator, if any of this is made 0, if vulnerability is made 0, if very good houses are built which is protected from the floods, then there won't be any risk of the disaster. Likewise, if the hazard itself is reduced, it is made 0 or made close to 0, the disaster risk is reduced. Likewise, if this capacity is increased, again the disaster risk is reduced. So you need to understand. This also we saw the other day. Elements at risk, people who are exposed. Then we had seen the disaster cycle, right? We had seen what response means. Actions taken immediately is response. Then we had seen the relief, and 3 things we have seen: recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. Fine. Your attendance time is also recorded in Google Meet, so be very careful at what time you join the class. So disaster, again this cycle is again broadly explained. The first, whenever the disaster impacts the immediate need is the relief. Just a moment. Whenever disaster impacts, the immediate thing which is to be provided to people is the relief. Then based on that relief, what type of relief is provided and a sufficient time is passed, say 1 day or something like that, then you need to rehabilitate people, because people need to stay. People need their 3 basic elements, that is food, clothing and shelter. Then after rehabilitation, reconstruction is done, and then after reconstruction mitigation is done, and then the people are prepared for the next disaster, because disaster is inevitable, or rather hazard is inevitable. So the process undertaken by disaster affected community, what is this known as? This term is known as, anybody?
Relief.
Hello? This term is known as
redevelopment.
No.
Construction.
No. Recovery. You are trying to
redevelopment, sir.
It is recovery. The process undertaken by disaster affected community to restore fully, you are recovered from the disaster. Redevelopment is something different. We had seen up to this figure we had seen the other day, right? I had explained you. This is the normal condition. This person is what? Because he is vulnerable because of his weight. If he sits on this particular chair, which is normal condition, it will occur to disaster. Then rehabilitation means what? You provide some measure. You just tie this chair so that people are just able to avail their basic needs, food, clothing and shelter. But we should not stop at rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is a temporary measure. Like you provide some camps, some relief camps, some sort of temporary staying place for the people. Then what you need to do is you need to do the reconstruction. So when you will say that recovery is occurred after the reconstruction has been completed. So this is like building up. Now this particular thing is there. This particular place has been affected by a flood or something like that. You have to provide some that people should go from one place to the other. This is some village and some city places there, or some market places on the other side. So people should avail their basic necessities. So you provide a temporary structure. So this providing this temporary structure is known as rehabilitation. So re-establish, assist victims to repair the dwelling, re-establish and salvage, revise. So this is known as rehabilitation. But you should not stop at rehabilitation, because you cannot say that this temporary structure will be there throughout the lifestyle of its lifespan. Na? You need to ensure that people are, because that temporary structure, if some other flood comes or if some other hazard comes, it may be washed away. So you need to provide a concrete or a permanent measure so that people's life are again brought to full recovery, and that particular phase is known as reconstruction. Then after reconstruction, now efforts are made to sustain or improve the existing or previous lifestyle of a community is known as development. Where they were before the disaster, improving their capacity to such an extent so that in the next future events of any hazards, they are well developed, they are well mitigated or well prepared to take on the disaster. Just see this example. This stone is tied by this. The stone is tied by this rope. So there is mitigation. Like the vulnerability is there. The person is standing here itself, but he has what he has done is he has tied the disaster. So the impact of disaster itself will reduce. Like in this coronavirus situation, what we are doing is we are using these masks. So of course, it is not 100% foolproof that you will be saved from the disaster. If there will be hazard, the coronavirus will be there for some time. But at least if you wear this mask, if your chances of if your chances of infecting by the virus was say 100%, it would be reduced to 5% or 10%. Are you understanding? Still you may be affected, but the chances will be reduced. So this is known as prevention. So there is a difference between prevention. Look, prevention is what? When the disaster has occurred, after that you do prevention. And then there is one more measure, one more thing which is done before the disaster. Like these people are building some structures, na? So that if any tsunami or something like that comes, they may be saved. This person has built a house, or he has built a structure so that even if the stone falls, he will be saved. So such phenomena, such measures are known as mitigation. You should always remember, like you may have studied or heard a phrase in your school days, that prevention is better than cure, right? So mitigation is something you can say which is done before the disease strikes, isn't it? Like mitigation was for in this coronavirus crisis preparation, you can say that you are wearing the mask, or you are using some immunity boosters, or you are not you are sanitizing your hands, feet, you are drinking hot you can say hot liquids and hot these things. But mitigation is something which can be done to avoid the situation itself. Like say the travel ban, if you are living in a particular state where the coronavirus cases are not there, and if in some other cases or in neighboring countries, neighboring cities, the coronavirus cases are there, so you ban the travel of people from the other state. That is known as mitigation. Are you understanding this point? So prevention is done after the disaster has struck, or rather after the hazard has become more potent. Mitigation is done before the strike of the disaster. So measures taken in anticipation of disaster is known as preparedness. You prepare yourself, like the cyclone which occurred in June. Many people, they lost their property, but some people, they prepared themselves. They prepared well so that the losses could have been minimized. So this can be done. So mitigation is done prior to the impact of disaster. So they are also known as structural and non-structural measures in case of our engineering terms. And prevention, measures taken to avoid a disaster from occurring. Like if the hazard is there, you still avoid the disaster from occurring. Like in case of your coronavirus crisis, what you do is you take the various prevention measures, that is known as prevention. Mitigation, and measures taken prior to impact of disaster to minimize its effect, and preparedness measures taken in anticipation of disaster to ensure that appropriate and effective actions are taken. You can see what is prevention, what is mitigation, and what is preparedness. Are you understanding these three terms? So in the exam, if such question comes, you have to write it very precisely. You do not mix one with the other because they are more or less similar. You will feel that these are similar, but you need to write it, and if possible, you always try to give examples and you try to highlight some points. Just some figures, some images for you. So sand dune fixation with bushes and trees, so that wave surges and tsunami and all these things are avoided. Mangrove forest along seashore for tsunami prevention. So reducing water demand, na SRI system of rise simplification, especially in case of the places where the irrigation facilities are less and all. So seed stores, access to disaster resident seed plants and all. These all things are there. Cyclone shelters, these are built. This is not a particular house. These are shelters which are built by the community in the village or say in the urban centers, so that if any cyclone comes, the people's houses are not that good, but they can come and stay here for some days in the event of disaster. Mock drill, first aid, early warning systems are there, especially in cyclones and tsunami and all. We have this early warning system. Storage systems are there. So these are things. CC adaptation means what? Climate change adaptation. So we are well aware with the disaster risk assessment and the climate change adaptation. The measures should be taken. And what is the difference between disaster management and disaster risk mitigation? So what is disaster management? Collective team encompassing all aspects of planning and preparedness and responding to disaster is known as disaster management. Broad range of activities. Disaster risk management is what? Look, management is after the disaster has occurred. What it is telling? Collective term encompassing all aspects of planning and preparing for responding to disaster. Responding, the word response is come. What you have done for the advent of the response of a disaster. And disaster risk management is what you do to prevent the loss of lives, minimize human sufferings. Are you understanding? Inform the public and authorities at risk, minimize property damage. So these all things are there. So disaster risk management stresses on proactive. Proactive means there are two things. One is what? Proactive approach, and another is a reactive approach. Proactive approach means what? You sense beforehand what your reaction should be there. Look, reactive means what? Reactive means what? Somebody slaps you and you slap him back. That is a reactive approach. And what is a proactive approach? If somebody causes some harm to you, you think for a while and then you react. That is a reactive, that is a proactive approach. Because always the reactive approach is not good. Like in case of disaster, you should always have proactive approach. So prevent, reduce, transfer of or live with the disaster risk. And second is public safety, disaster resilience, sustainable development of all. So this is the two main points of disaster risk management, because disaster is inevitable. Disaster is going to be there. Like this coronavirus crisis is going to be there for us with us for some time. You should be well prepared, or you should reduce, or you should transfer or live with the disaster risk, but it should not affect you. So you should be more resilient, sustainable development for all. You should not just think for yourself. You should think for your entire society, your community, and then only you will be saved from the disaster. So this cycle we have already discussed more on it. Emergency response is there, which is done immediately. Rehabilitation, reconstruction, then risk assessment is there, where you see how many people were damaged, how many people are more at risk. Prevention mitigation is there. Then awareness and capacity building is there for future disaster preparedness, and you will try to generate early warning systems on future disaster. So in the right hand side you see is the management phase, and in the left hand side you see is the mitigation phase. So clear cut distinction between different terminologies. Difference between preparedness, mitigation and prevention you should know. Difference between recovery, rehabilitation, reconstruction. Difference between disaster management and disaster risk mitigation, and there are different terminologies you should understand. Who else has joined? Sufyan Bawasli. Fine. So some more terms on disaster management. So what is disaster management? Introduction, definition, classification and type of disasters, disaster management, disaster preparedness, more on medical and public health response. Everybody is able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Disaster mitigation, recent disasters in India. Of course, this list is not updated because coronavirus and all these risks have not been updated in it. This is a 4 years old presentation which I am presenting to you. 4 to 5 years old. So disaster management in India, areas of concerns and future. So disasters are old as mankind. The first description of disaster and its management comes from the methodological Noah alayhi salam and his ark. You all have been knowing his story, right? That the flood was there, and how the people and every creatures were saved. Similar flood tales and widespread disasters are in Greek mythology, the Puranas, the Mesopotamian stories, and many other cultures. So disaster is not something which is new. Of course, the occurrences of disasters have increased over the last few years. Why they have increased? Because one is we have changed our lifestyles, and the ecological imbalance has caused the occurrence of disasters to increase. It is predicted that in the next few years the disasters are going to increase manifold. So you should be very prepared. This is a field which is going to have a very high relevance or very much relevance in the next few years. Two people are going to earn a very good, you can say, careers in the next few years. That is the disaster managers, the disaster management people, and the environmentalists, because the situation is such that the people are more at risks, there are more disasters, and the environment is degrading. So these if you are if you make a career in these particular fields, it is nothing like that. So introduction, how the word disaster came. So disaster came from a French word, that is disaster, which means a bad star. Does means bad. Sorry, it came from Greek. Greek does means bad, and aster means star. So even then, in Italian it is known as disastro. In French, it is known as disaster. So bad star, generally the position of planet or star. Based on that position of planet or star, people, ancient people, they were they were gauging that it is a bad position, and so the disaster will occur. So from that particular etymology, the word was coined. So any occurrence that causes damage, ecological disruption, loss of human life. Just a moment. Hello, good morning, sir. हाँ सर. हाँ सर, मैं पास एक हाफ एन आवर में कॉल करूँ सर, मैं थोड़ा लेक्चर में हूँ. मैं करता हूँ सर. Any occurrences that causes damage, ecological disruption, loss of human life, deterioration of health and health services on a scale sufficient to warrant an extraordinary response from outside. So if a response from outside is required, no? The people themselves, the local capacity of the people is not such that they can withstand the disaster. So that is known as a disaster, right? So they require some extraordinary response from outside. That is known as disaster. Like in case of floods and all, the various these disaster management forces come, na? The NDRF and these all forces come for evacuation of people. So they require some extraordinary response. Disaster can be defined. So there are two definitions. Look, if a short note on disaster comes, you should try to write the definitions which are given by versed organizations, like the WHO is there, the American Red Cross is there, Indian NIDM has some definition of disaster. You should build your answers and you should highlight the important points. You should always make a point to underline some keywords. Because see, if you write a question is there for say 10 marks about disaster, a general question is there. So you should write in such a way. You should not focus on just filling your answer sheets because it should have some meaning. You should write in proper sequence, and whatever important words are there, you should always make a point to highlight those words. You should underline those words, and you should just make it clear to the person who is checking the papers. Because look, the length of your answers will not define your marks. Many people think that I have written so much, so I will get good marks. No, that thing should be relevant in the context of the question. Of course, you have written a very good paragraph, but if it is not relevant to the question, it will not make sense. So, what the question asks, that is important. Hazard, again, there are definitions. We have seen a simple definition, but any in terms of some proper definition, any phenomenon that has potential to cause disruption or damage is known as hazard. It is a natural event while disaster is its consequence. Keep this or fit this in your mind that hazard is a natural event, disaster is a consequence. If the hazard itself is mitigated, the disaster can be avoided. The hazard is perceived natural event which threatens both life and property. Disaster is the realization of this hazard. Is it clear? Everybody now they will be able to make this differentiation?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Fine. When hazard involves elements of risk, vulnerabilities and capacities, they turn into disaster. These three terms you have seen: risks, vulnerability, capacity and hazard. So sometimes what is there now? Most of the times, if you see the previous papers, only in the last question, this last exam, this question was not asked, but in the all previous papers, especially in question number 1, which is a compulsory question, short, you can say definitions are asked for 2 marks. 10 definitions will be asked, or 12 definitions will be asked, out of which you would be told to attempt any 10. And these all terms will be there: disaster, disaster preparedness. 10 definitions from your entire syllabus will be there. And you should write very precisely. You should not mix one and the other. And it is a compulsory question generally. So you should be very well prepared. So hazards may be inevitable, hazards cannot be prevented, but disasters can be prevented. So you should understand this. Vulnerability, if you see this diagram, it is a very simple diagram. Exposure to hazard is high and the capacity is high, so the vulnerability is low. It means people are safe. Are you understanding? People have high capacity to cope. They are like, you see, you can say in this case of this coronavirus, if people have very good immunity, and many asymptomatic patients are there, many asymptomatic patients are there, like many doctors are there. Now in a recent study it was found many doctors were there who, when they checked their antibodies, they found that they had some antibodies. The antibodies are possible only in 2 cases: when they are affected by the virus, or after they have received some vaccine. Now how their blood produced these antibodies? It was because they were able to, they have contracted the infection, and they fighted with that infection. Their body fought with that infection, and the virus was not detected in their bodies. They did not do any test, but when they did the antibody test, they found that they have the antibodies. This means what? They have averted the disaster. They have contracted the virus entered their body, but their immune system was so strong that they were averted from the disaster. They were not affected. They were asymptomatic. They had no symptoms of the disaster, but they were infected by the virus, and they have now come out of the phase. When they did their test, when these doctors were tested for the coronavirus, their reports came out to be negative. And again, after second trial also, they came out to be negative. But they had the presence of antibodies. This means what? Their immune system was high. So exposure, doctors and policemen, these are the people who are most exposed to the disaster. But because of their high immune system and all, because of course they know how to take prevention, and they are on regular immune boosters, because they have to work in that particular environment. So because of their high immune system, although they were at high risk and high exposure, they are vulnerability were low and they avoided the disaster. Second case is what? Exposure is high and their immunity is low. Like many people succumb to the disaster. Many doctors also, many policemen, they succumb to a disaster. Why? Because their capacity was low. They did not have their capacity. They were diabetic patients or they had some other comorbidity like they had asthmatic patients. So generally this breathing problem is quite severe in this particular coronavirus crisis. So when the exposure was high, especially in case of these doctors and policemen, and their capability was low, they were old age people or say they were not, their immune system was not strong, so they were highly vulnerable and hence they were severe effects of this disaster. Again, third thing is their exposure is less. Like we people, if we are in our homes, you do not do unnecessary wandering in the streets, and we have high capacity, we have a very good immune system, so we are at very low risk. Even if we are infected by this disaster, there is very chances that we will be infected by this disaster, because even the people in vicinity are infected, we will not be affected because we are taking proper care so that we are not exposed. And the fourth case is the exposure is less. We are at our home, even if our old people, they are not very having very good immune system, that they have low immune system, but still they are very less exposed. Then also the vulnerability is low. Why? Because they are at the home. So therefore the government advises people to stay at their homes and take the adequate precautions. Is it clear? Everybody is understanding this point?
Yes, sir.
So if the question is there for say 10 marks or 8 marks, na, you can draw this diagram and you can explain, because this is a very, like, figures speak more than words. Rather than writing, of course you can write about this, but if you draw this diagram and if you properly relate it, it is very easy to understand for the examiner also, because you do not know who is going to check your paper. So again, disaster occurs when hazards meets vulnerability. This is a very important statement. So how the vulnerability is there? Root causes is limited access to power, structures, resources. So these are the root causes, na? Then ideologies, political system, economic system. Poor people are generally more affected by disaster. If you see in the Dharavi and all, na, in April, many people were affected, because why? They had this lack of access. So they were in the vulnerable group. Then there are dynamic pressures like lack of local institutes. There were no training institutes. Why China was able to avoid this or reduce the risk of disaster? Because there were many trainings were given, many appropriate skills were given. Then ethical standards, Japan and all. Why these cases are less? Hong Kong, Japan, because people follow proper standards in public life. If you see in India, in many places, people are just, people are not taking care of themselves. People say that we are strong, we will just roam, wander in the street. They are not taking care of themselves. What is happening is they are themselves are not affected because of their good immune system, but the people whom they come in contact, like their elders or the people who are asthmatic or diabetic, they are affected by the virus. So ethical standards, this actually lockdown and all, if the lockdown was properly followed, the vulnerability would have been reduced, but it was not properly followed by the masses. But when the people was educated, when the people were trained properly, so this vulnerability could have been reduced. Macro forces, rapid growing population is there, rapid urbanization is there, arms expenditure, debts repayments. These all things lead to progression of vulnerability, right? Then unsafe conditions, fragile physical environment, like in case of floods, the people living nearby this Mithi river and all these places, where the low-lying areas are there, so they are very unsafe as compared to the other people who are living in, say, some high places, like say Pali Hill or some other places. These people are safe from floods, and even some other southern Mumbai and all these people are safe from floods. Then unprotected buildings and infrastructure, especially in case of this earthquakes and landslides. Fragile local economy, livelihoods at stocks, low income levels, especially in African countries, these conditions are there where people are vulnerable, more vulnerable. Vulnerable societies, special groups at risk, the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, or the very poor people, economically very poor people, they are more at risk. Public actions, lack of preparedness, endemic diseases. So you just see risk is nothing but hazard plus vulnerability. If they are not prevented, it leads to a disaster. So hazards cannot be prevented, but the disaster can be prevented. Earthquakes, high winds, hurricane, cyclone, typhoon, flood, volcanic eruptions, landslides. These are all natural disasters. Drought, virus, bacteria, pest, fire, chemical radiations, armed conflicts. They are all natural disasters. Look here, once more I am telling you, your time is being recorded. Your time is being recorded in the attendance mapper. So you should join the class on time. So again, classification of disaster. This is your some part is there. This will study in detail in your chapter number 2. Module 2 is it is in detail. So classification of disaster, natural disaster and man-made disaster. Again, natural disasters are classified into 3: meteorological, topographical, and environmental. And meteorological means something related to the position of winds, position of clouds. This is meteorological disaster. Topographical means the location, the hills, the slope, the land type, the soil type, the type of structures which are there. Those are topographical. And environmental means which is leading to the like the pollution, depending on the pollution. Like the coronavirus also comes under the environmental type of disaster. Then there are man-made disaster, technological disaster, right? Technology is so developed that it leads to disaster. Like the wars are there. There's all type of like war will be something different, but technological disasters are there. Industrial disaster, like you had the biogas, Bhopal methane gas tragedy, isomethanol. That tragedy was there, which I have studied in environmental science in your first year. So that was an industrial type of disaster. The Chernobyl disaster. It was an industrial type of disaster. Then warfare is there. This is the man-made type of disaster. So meteorological disasters are flood, tsunami, cyclone. These all depending on the winds and rains and position of clouds. These all are meteorological disasters. Topographical, earthquake, position, volcanic eruptions, landslides, etc. Then global warming, El Nino, La Nina effect, ozone depletion, solar flare. These are all. Even this your coronavirus is all environmental disaster. Climate disaster, technological, transportation failure, public failure, fire. These are all technological disaster. Chemical spills, radioactive spills are industrial. War, terrorism, internal conflict, civil unrest. These are all warfare disasters. And disaster management, a policy or body and administrative disaster decisions and operational activities that pertain to various stages of a disaster at all levels. It is known as disaster management. There are various levels, and module number 4 will study how the disaster management framework is there in India. And applied science, which seeks by systematic observation and analysis of disaster to improve measures of prevention, emergency response, recovery, and mitigation, is disaster management. So it encompasses all aspects of planning for and responding to disasters, including both pre and post disaster activities. So again, it is a continuous and integrated process. You cannot say that you have provided relief, then your disaster management is done. No, it is a continuous process. It is an integrated process of planning, organizing, coordinating, and implementing measures which are necessary or expedient for prevention or danger from disaster, reduction of risk. Capacity building also comes under disaster management. Preparedness to deal with any disaster. Like in case of coronavirus, your capacity is built. For floods, your capacity is built. For landslides, the capacity is built. Prompt response to any threatening disaster situation or situation. Assessing the severity or magnitude of disasters. Evacuation, relief, rehabilitation, reconstruction. These are all disaster management. Preparedness, like we discussed, activities prior to a disaster are known as preparedness. Again, this is a cycle. It is a never-ending process. It goes on, right? So preparedness plan, emergency exercises, training, early warning systems. They are activities prior to a disaster. The response is there. So that response is known as activities during a disaster. When a disaster is arriving, what you will do? How will you evacuate the people? Or say earthquake is there, how the people will ensure, or how it will be ensured that the people are vacated or make their way out of their homes safely. So Public warning systems, emergency response, tsunami in case of tsunami and cyclones, this is possible. Public warning in case of radios or news channels if the warning is there. Search and rescue, recovery, temporary housing, claims processing and all, grants, medical care is recovery. Mitigation is activities that reduce the effects of disaster, building codes and zoning, vulnerability analysis, public education, these all come under mitigation. So is it clear? This chart will make it very clear what falls under what phase of the disaster management cycle. So disaster management continuum means something which is in continuity. Proactive strategy is what? Preparedness. Proactive, I told you, there are two approaches. Proactive approach means beforehand only you think what should be your response. Reactive means you think what should be done after the immediately after. You do not think, you just respond. Proactive means you think over it and then you respond. The preparedness is there, mitigation is there, prevention is there, reconstruction is there. You just see these four phases. So proactive strategy is you think more on these upper phases. I think more on these upper phases initially so that the disaster's effect itself is less. Mitigation is there, preparedness is there, you build a capacity. So holistic and continuous process. Fundamental and prompt and effective response. Then response should be, assessment should be, immediate relief should be there, that is known as rehabilitation, and after the assessment and all is done, it is known as reconstruction. So phases of disaster management: disaster preparedness, which is before the disaster; disaster impact during the disaster; disaster response immediately after the disaster; disaster recovery, which is done after the response phase so that the people are ensured brought back to their normal lives which was before the disaster; and mitigation means to make their lives better than the previous case. So preparedness is an ongoing multi-sectoral activity, integral part of the national system responsibility for developing plans and programs for disaster management, prevention, mitigation, response. All these terms are there. So preparedness is most important. So preparedness is coordination of various sectors. There are various sectors, right, of the society. The government sectors are there, the private sector is there, the NGOs are there, so that the evaluation of risk is there, how many people are affected or how many people are there at risk, adopt standards and regulation, organize communication response mechanism, ensure all resources are readily and easily mobilized. Like in case of floods, na, this NDRF teams and all, or the state governments and all these teams had made the lifeboats and all these were ready, right? So that the people can be evacuated. So these resources are, one thing is making these resources ready, other thing is to mobilize these resources. What will happen if the boats were ready but they were not able to mobilize? They were there in the store but they were not able to bring to the site. So that is also a problem. Develop public education programs. People are educated, people are made aware, because in India and especially in the developed or less developed countries, in the developing or less developed countries, what is the problem? People are not educated. How to cope up with the disaster is they are not well aware, and hence they are at more vulnerable, they are at more risk, and hence the education program should be undertaken. So this is a very important aspect. A question generally comes in the exam: what is the importance of education in disaster management? So a short note you have to write on that, which we'll discuss in the next lecture in detail. Coordination information with news media, how the news media is delivering the news so that people are informed, at the same time they are not frightened. Disaster simulation exercises like safety drills, mock drills are done, especially in case of airports. Airports, if you see, some people of you who are frequent travelers may have seen that there is a safety drill which is done in airports in case of a terrorist activity and all. In Mumbai also, airport also it is frequently done. So how the disaster, how the simulations of people, how they are taken to safe zones and all these are demonstrated. Medical preparedness and mass casualty management. So developing and capacity building of medical team for trauma and psychosocial care, mass casualty management. Because look, there will not be one or two people affected. Like in this case of this coronavirus, many people are affected, and the best thing with this lockdown did was it gave time to the medical response, because the capacity was built. Capacity was built more means what? More ICUs were developed. You know, the railway coaches were used for developing the hospitals. More hospital beds were attached. More oxygen cylinders were manufactured by companies. and so we bought some time, and now the situation we can still say it is under control. Although there are so many cases, but the situation why we can say it is under control, because we bought time because of this lockdown. Mass casualty management and triage. Triage means identifying the which people require what type of response. There are four categories. One is what people require very less response, just some relief. First aid is required. That's it. Second is some people which require response as well as some monitoring. Third is very severe cases, and fourth is the death cases. So you should isolate these four cases so that the proper relief can be provided to all. Determine casualty handling capacity of all hospitals. How the like this in the especially in this case of this coronavirus, na, how the casualty is handled, and how the dead people are buried and all, how their bodies are disposed of. Even if those are severe, na, how their sufferings are elevated. Those people, those whose recovery is there is no there is no foreseeing recovery. So how the sufferings are lowered. These all capacities are also these also comes under medical preparedness. Formulate appropriate treatment procedures. Involvement of private hospitals, like many private hospitals are involved in this coronavirus treatment. MAR could be care centers that can function as a medical units. Identify structural unities and approach routes. Disaster response. Immediate reaction to a disaster as the disaster is anticipated or soon after it begins in order to assess the needs, reduce the suffering, limit the spread and consequences of disasters is known as disaster response. So it can be done by mass evacuation, search and rescue, emergency medical services. These people are very, you can say very high risk people. Emergency medical services. They themselves put themselves at risk and they save the people. Securing food and water, maintenance of law and order, because look, there can be people are distressed, na? So there can be looting and all these things can be there, especially in you may have heard in this Black Lives Matter this case, na, of that Floyd Riffer. Sometimes case was there in US. You may have heard. So in that case, when the various rallies were there, there were various protests. So people took law and order in their hand. They looted several stores and all. So how to avoid this? So that is also disaster response strategy. Yes, disaster impact and response. Search, rescue, and first aid. This is the first and foremost thing. Field care, triage, identifying, as I said, identifying the four groups and batching them, preferably making them, segregating them so that the response can be adequately administered. Tagging, identifying of the death. So this is the most important done thing which is done in the response. So pre-hospital emergency services, because there is a golden hour before the people reach the hospitals, they should be given some emergency services, linking government incident command system like the GIS system and all these systems we will study in the module number 5. How the modern tools will be effective in this. External, your role as an engineer is very important in this, because many engineers are taking up careers in disaster management because it is a very noble field and it is a very good service to the humanity. External medical services and extrication workers, search and rescue teams, these are all medical services. It is not just the medical team or the doctors who are in the medical response. Even as engineers, we can play a major role in the medical health response. Search and assessment of immediate health needs, identification of medical health resources, temporary field treatment. These all things are important. Patient distribution and evacuation, because there may be disaster is something which is sudden, which may be sudden and it affects a lot of people. So you have to distribute the people so that the hospitals are not, one particular hospital is not overburdened and not able to take care of the patients. Triage means to classify. It comes from a French word, selection and classification, assigning priority for treatment and transport on basis of severity of injuries. So this is a triage. Tagging, and then medical transport and all these things are there. So about triage and all, we'll discuss in the next lecture, because this requires some time for discussion. Okay, so I'll